Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome. We share real stories from real people. Let's start with the first story. Am I the asshole for not trying harder to inform my ex that our son had passed away? Let me start by saying that both my partner M and I, F, were 28 years old when I discovered I was pregnant. We had been together for 4 solid years, building what I thought was a stable and committed relationship. But everything changed in ways I could never have anticipated. To be completely honest, having a child was not something I desired at that point in my life. My career was on an upward trajectory, offering potential advancements that I had worked tirelessly for, and I was incredibly excited about the future that was unfolding before me. The thought of starting a family seemed like a massive derailment from the path I had envisioned for myself. But after countless deep conversations and debates, filled with tears, doubts, and hopes, we eventually decided to go through with the pregnancy. I'd convinced myself that we were making a joint decision, that we were in this together, but how wrong I was. Everything seemed fine until I hit the 20-week mark. That's when we found out the baby's gender. A moment that was supposed to bring us closer, a moment that many couples cherish. But for me, it marked the beginning of the end. Shortly after that, he vanished. Just like that, he was gone. No warning, no explanations. It was as if he had disappeared off the face of the earth. I was in shock. How could someone who was supposed to be my partner in life, the father of our unborn child, just walk away? I was frantic, trying to reach him, but my calls went unanswered. My messages were ignored. I was left in a state of panic and confusion, my mind racing with a million different scenarios, each more terrifying than the last. Desperate for answers, I reached out to his mother, hoping she could shed some light on what was happening. That's when I learned the cold, hard truth: he had moved back in with her. He was overwhelmed by the situation, unable to cope with the reality of becoming a father. The man who had once promised to be there for me, to stand by my side through thick and thin, had retreated into the safety of his mother's home, leaving me to face this alone. I felt betrayed, abandoned, and utterly heartbroken. Despite everything, he continued to send money, paying a portion of his bills into my bank account each month, as if that was supposed to make up for his absence. But not a single word from him. No calls, no texts, nothing. It was as if he had cut me out of his life entirely, leaving me to deal with the overwhelming emotions and physical changes that come with pregnancy on my own. I was devastated, but I still held on to a shred of hope that he would come to his senses, that he would realize what he was missing and return to me. But as the weeks passed and my pregnancy progressed, that hope began to fade. By the time I reached 27 weeks, I was emotionally drained. I'd cried all the tears I could cry, and I finally accepted the harsh reality. I was going to be a single mother. I made the difficult decision to stop trying to reach him. It was clear that he had made his choice, and now I had to make mine. I focused on preparing for the arrival of my baby, buying all the necessary items, and getting everything ready for the new life I would soon bring into the world. It was a bittersweet process, filled with moments of joy and sadness, as I imagined the future that lay ahead. At 31 weeks, I began to experience pain, but I dismissed it as Braxton Hicks contractions, a normal part of pregnancy. However, just before I hit 32 weeks, my water broke unexpectedly, sending me into early labor. Panic set in as I rushed to the hospital, where my son was born far too soon. The labor was swift, too swift, and before I knew it, my tiny baby boy was whisked away to the NICU, his fragile life hanging in the balance. I was terrified, my heart breaking as I looked at my helpless child, connected to tubes and machines, fighting for every breath. In the midst of my fear and exhaustion, I once again reached out to my ex and his mother, desperately trying to let them know what was happening. I called and texted, leaving voicemails, pleading for them to respond. But just like before, I was met with silence. Not a single word from either of them. It was as if they had completely erased me and our son from their lives. Less than a week later, my worst nightmare became a reality. My son passed away due to complications from his premature birth. The pain I felt in that moment was indescribable. I'd lost the most precious thing in my life, and I was completely and utterly alone. In my grief, I tried one last time to contact my ex and his mother, leaving them voicemails and sending messages that went unanswered. It was as if they didn't care, as if the life and death of our son meant nothing to them. I was shattered. The weeks that followed were a blur of sorrow and numbness. My parents, bless their hearts, stepped in to help me arrange the funeral, as I was too broken to handle it on my own. They too tried to contact my ex and his mother, hoping to give them the opportunity to say goodbye to their grandson. But once again, their efforts were in vain. There was no response, no acknowledgement, nothing. It was as if they had disappeared completely. At that point, I assumed that maybe we had been blocked, but honestly, I didn't care anymore. I was too deep in my grief to be concerned with their indifference. The funeral came and went. It was a beautiful, heartbreaking ceremony that I will never forget. Saying goodbye to my son was the hardest thing I have ever had to do. After the funeral, I made the decision to stop reaching out to my ex and his family. I couldn't take it anymore. The constant rejection, the silence, it was too much for me to bear. I told my family to stop trying as well. We had done everything we could to inform them, and they had chosen to ignore us. I needed to focus on healing, on trying to find some way to move forward. 5 months later, out of the blue, my ex showed up at my doorstep. I was taken aback, unsure of how to react. I wasn't home at the time, but when I returned, I was met with hostility. He immediately noticed that the apartment was not set up for a child, that there were no signs of a baby living there. His anger was palpable as he demanded to see his son. It was in that moment that I broke down, the weight of everything that had happened crashing down on me. Through tears, I told him the truth. I told him that our son had died. I had never seen him so angry, so full of rage. He stormed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind him, leaving me standing there, shattered. Within half an hour, the phone calls and messages started pouring in. His mother, his siblings, his entire family, they were furious with me. How dare I not inform them of something so serious? How could I keep something like this from them, all because of what they deemed a petty grievance? Their words cut deep, accusing me of being heartless, of deliberately withholding the truth from them out of spite. But what they didn't understand, what they refused to acknowledge, was that I had tried. I had tried so hard to let them know, but I couldn't keep trying. I was drowning in my own grief, struggling to keep my head above water. I had lost my son too. I was in so much pain, and yet they expected me to do more, to go above and beyond to accommodate their needs, their feelings. It was too much. The following weeks were a nightmare. The anger, the accusations, it was relentless. My sister, who had always been my rock, my confidante, added to my pain. She told me that not continuing to try was a terrible move, that they deserved to know that I had failed them by not making more of an effort. Her words stung, and I began to question myself. Was I the asshole? Should I have done more? Could I have tried harder? But deep down, I knew the truth. I had done everything I could. I had tried to reach out to inform them, but they had chosen to ignore me, to abandon me in my time of need. I was grieving, I was broken, and I couldn't keep pushing myself beyond my limits. Edit, I want to take a moment to thank everyone who has taken the time to read and respond to my post. Your feedback means the world to me. I'm sorry that I haven't replied to any of your comments, but please know that I have read them, and they have brought me a great deal of comfort. Honestly, I plan to drown my sorrows in a bottle or two of wine tonight, reread your kind responses, and cry myself to sleep. Writing all of this out, reliving it, it's been incredibly hard. But it's also been cathartic, a way to begin the healing process. Unfortunately, I can't change the locks on my apartment, my landlord won't allow it, but my lease ends on June 12th, and I have already secured a new apartment to move into. Thankfully, my dad has been able to cover the cost of a private therapist, and I will be seeing her again on Tuesday. Thank you all so much, from the bottom of my heart, for your kind words and support. It means more to me than I can express. Second edit. If I had known this post would gain so much attention, I probably would have posted it on my main account. Lewis, if you're reading this, take a moment to really absorb what I've written here. Read it again. Then read the comments. Then leave me alone. I've had enough. To everyone else, thank you for your comments and advice. I plan to show this post to my therapist during our next session and talk through it with her, but honestly, just writing it all down has helped more than I could have imagined. Even though I've cried a lot, it's been a release that I desperately needed. I'm going to bed now, and I don't plan on revisiting this post again. But thank you, all of you, for your kindness. Update. 2.5 months later. My previous post was locked, but I received a few messages asking how I've been doing. So before I completely step away from this account, I wanted to give a final update. I'm doing okay. The move went smoothly, and I'm now living far enough away that there's no chance of running into my ex or his family. I changed my phone number and deleted all of my social media accounts, so I haven't heard a peep from them in about 6 weeks. My sister has apologized for what she said, and we've had a lot of conversations about everything that happened. Our relationship isn't the same as it was before, but we're working on it. I still hear from mutual friends that they're talking behind my back, spreading rumors, but I try to ignore it. I've been focusing on my therapy and doing my best to move forward with my life. I visit my son's grave whenever I can, and thankfully, my ex and his family have shown no interest in finding out where he's buried, so I'm able to grieve in peace. Thank you to everyone who reached out with words of support and kindness. Your comments have meant more to me than I can express. I found myself revisiting the previous post many times over the past few months, and it has been a source of comfort during some very dark times. I'm going to step away from this account now, but I want to say one last thank you. Related comment. Commenter, can you explain what your sister said and what she was thinking at the time? OOP, my dad was furious when he found out what my sister had said to me, and he didn't hold back in letting her know how wrong she was. She told me that she didn't realize how much we had tried to contact my ex and his family. She thought that, just like when I was pregnant, I had decided to cut him out of my life and do everything on my own. But honestly, that explanation feels like bullshit to me. My parents were there with me every step of the way, supporting me through the worst time of my life. My sister wasn't completely absent. She knew we had called and messaged them multiple times. Her apology seemed sincere, and since then, she hasn't had anything positive to say about my ex or his family. If anyone's going to get angry with them, it'll be her, but my dad has advised us to just let it go and let them self-destruct. Final update, 8 months later. I almost forgot about Reddit until I was clearing out some apps on my phone to free up space. I figured I'd give one last update before I delete the app for good. I wish I could say everything has been great, that I'm thriving, that I've moved on and found happiness. But the truth is, life has been anything but exciting. I moved into my new apartment last year, and while it's a nice place, I forgot how expensive it is to live on my own. But I'm managing. I finally got a new job. Not much has changed in terms of pay or position, but at least my ex doesn't know where I work now. He never showed up at my old job or anything dramatic like that. I just wanted a fresh start, and this new job, along with my new apartment, has given me that. I haven't started dating again. I just don't have it in me right now. The wounds are still too fresh, and I'm still trying to heal from everything that's happened. As for my sister, we're low contact. She apologized, but according to my mom, she still occasionally talks to my ex. There's no dramatic, Reddit-worthy plot twist, just that my sister will talk to him if they run into each other. But after everything that's happened, it still hurts. I'm still in therapy, and I actually increased the frequency of my sessions around the 1-year anniversary of my son's death. Thankfully, my ex hasn't shown up at his grave, or at least not when I've been there. I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's been rough. The pain is still there, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. There were days when I would visit his grave, then come home and spend days in bed, crying, unable to function. My dad has been my rock through all of this. He's been there for me in ways that I can never repay. I'm still paying him back for all the help he's given me financially, even though he waves it off when I tell him I'm going to pay X amount this month. I know it's been a strain on him. We have this Sunday morning ritual where we just sit together, drink tea, chat, and sometimes watch F1. It's one of the few bright spots in my life right now, and I cherish our time together. But overall, life has been pretty boring. No contact with my ex or his family, no major changes, no exciting new developments. Just one foot in front of the other, trying to move forward. I've reread everything I posted last year, along with all the comments, and I just want to say thank you again. I was in a really dark place mentally, and it was hard to see that I wasn't the villain in this story. The combination of therapy and all the support from you guys has helped me more than I can put into words. So, thank you. Goodbye. Hi everyone, Peter here. Welcome. We share real stories from real people. Let's start with the first story. AITA for lying to my girlfriend in a video game about lying. So, this is a situation I'm pretty surprised to find myself in. I can say it's actually kind of funny if I wasn't stuck in the middle of it. A little background. My girlfriend, 25F, and I, 27M, have been together for about 8 months. Before our relationship, my girlfriend was in a nearly 2-year relationship with a jerk. Not only did he spend the entire time cheating on her, but he also constantly gaslit her. No matter what, everything was her fault. I wish I had enough space to describe just how terrible this man was to her. We met about 6 months after she finally got out of that relationship. From the start, she made it clear to me that any dishonesty from anyone she's dating is completely unacceptable to her. Even white lies. I bring this up because it's pretty relevant to the content of this post. Yesterday, I was playing Among Us with a group of friends when she came over. She watched me play for a while before I suggested she give it a try, as she had played a bit with my group before. She really got into it. She really enjoyed it. So I pulled out my laptop, created a Steam account for her, and bought the game so we could play together. For those who don't know, Among Us is a social deduction game where a group of players tries to figure out who the imposters are before the imposters succeed in killing everyone. Imposters generally have to be good at lying to win. I'm sure you can see where this is going. In the second game, I was the imposter, and I killed someone right as another person walked into the room. They reported the body. Now it was just me, the person who saw me, and my girlfriend left. He accused me of being the imposter, and I accused him. My girlfriend was the deciding vote. She didn't know what to do. I said, "I swear I'm not lying." So she voted for the other guy, and I won the game. My girlfriend got up and said she had to leave. I tried texting her a few times, but she ignored me. I finally heard from her this morning, where she sent me a message saying she feels like she can't trust me anymore. Not only was she upset that I swore I wasn't lying to her when I was, but she was also really bothered by the fact that she couldn't tell I was lying even though we were in the same room and she could see my face. She understands that lying is part of the game, but she wanted to believe that if I swore something was true, she could trust that no matter what. Now she can't. She needs time to think about what this means for our relationship. I got really defensive at this point and told her I couldn't believe she was making such a big deal out of a stupid game. I haven't heard back from her since then. AITA? I don't think so, but I regret buying her the game. Related opinions. Riga Lazar. Okay, I don't think it would cloud my judgment, but I have to ask, did she know that lying is a key part of the game before the match where you were the imposter? Like, in the "there are 2 imposters trying to kill us, and you need to figure out who's lying" conversation. Yes, she knew. And she knew it could be me. I actually lied to her earlier in that match. The only lie she really cared about was the "I swear I'm not lying" part that happened at the end. Riga Lazar. Edit. No, Ente, very close to nah. She knew there was lying in the game and chose to play it. Was your choice of words perhaps a bit unfortunate considering her history? Yes, but again, she knew lying was part of the game. Not all Titchcock 13. Ente, your girlfriend needs therapy to work through these issues. What happened to her was terrible, but it's also unrealistic to expect you to never lie to the point where you can't even play a game together. Op. The only lie she objected to was at the end, when I swore I wasn't lying. She had no problem with the lies that happened earlier. Commenter. Did you write it in the game or say to her, "I swear I'm not lying"? Op. I said it out loud over Discord. We were also in the same room, of course, screens facing away from each other, and I was looking at her when I said it. Update 1, 18 months later. Wow, it's been a long time since I posted that original topic. I actually forgot about it until a few days ago, so I thought I'd give an update. First off, my girlfriend and I are still together. We've moved in together since then. When I posted my original AITA topic, the consensus seemed to be NTA. But looking back, I think even as I wrote that, I was being an off for what happened. I remember reading some responses about my girlfriend and how she needed to get over herself, and getting more and more upset with those comments. That was the point I got mad and wanted to defend her, and I realized, yep, I was in awe. I shouldn't have looked her in the eye when I swore I wasn't lying, and I shouldn't have gotten so defensive and downplayed her feelings by saying it was just a game. I gave it a day or two before deciding to reach out to apologize, but she contacted me first to apologize for her behavior. I told her she had nothing to apologize for, that I completely understood, and that I was sorry for how I reacted. Then we both ended up apologizing and trying to take the blame ourselves. She had gone to stay with her sister after the incident. Initially, it seemed like my girlfriend wasn't going to really explain what happened to her sister other than that I had lied to her, but after about a day, she finally opened up about it. And then her sister actually defended me, saying this would be a really stupid reason to end an otherwise good relationship. This surprised me because I didn't think her sister liked me. After talking with her sister, my girlfriend called me. We met up, and after talking, it became clear to both of us that she still had a lot of issues with her ex that she needed to work through, and that we might have started dating too soon. But we both really liked each other, and didn't want to end things, so we decided to stay together and work things out. She started seeing a therapist, and it's done wonders. I don't think even after the incident and after we made up, I fully grasped just how much damage her ex had done to her. I swear, sometimes I wish I could find that guy alone in a dark alley at some point. I'm really glad our relationship survived that. She makes me happier than anyone I've ever met. I can't imagine my life without her. And hey, last month, we actually played Among Us again. It was her idea because I hadn't touched it since the incident. We had a lot of fun together. Though I insisted we play in different rooms, and I definitely avoided saying, "I swear," which she told me she found pretty cute. Update 2 years later. I was thinking about the incident a few days ago and logged back into this account. There were quite a few replies since the last time I did. Apparently, this was posted on TikTok about a year ago, and some people had issues with how it went down. I thought I'd give an update to address some concerns. I also made the mistake of finding the video and reading the comments, never checked the comments. First off, and I really can't believe I have to say this, but my girlfriend did not make up a story that I abused her to her sister. She said I lied to her face, which technically was true. I don't know why some people try to make this sound worse than it actually was. Second, my girlfriend is not abusive. She didn't make her issues my issues. She didn't blame me for her problems. I care about her issues because I care about her. I don't live in fear of letting her down. Third, my girlfriend did not freak out the moment she found out I lied to her in a game. She knew the game was all about lying. She had no problem with me lying in the game. She only had an emotional trigger when I said, "I swear I'm not lying," while looking her straight in the eyes. That's what set her off. Oh, and by the way, what I did was technically cheating in the game because I used eye contact to lie more effectively when that's outside the game's scope. Fourth, yes, I posted on AITA to see if I was an asshole. And then I had the audacity to disagree when they said I was totally in the clear. I looked closely at the people who said that and realized I didn't want to be like them. The reaction my post received didn't change my mind. If resolving things through communication makes me an asshole, then I'm completely fine with that. A lot of people were really hung up on, all he did was lie in a game about lying. He didn't do anything wrong. He gasped at the idea that he was wrong. What a wuss. Also, as mentioned before, what I did was outside the game's scope. What I did wrong had nothing to do with actually lying in the game. The issue was what I said immediately after she tried to explain to me why she reacted the way she did. I immediately tried to dismiss it because it wasn't a big deal. Just because something wasn't a big deal to me doesn't mean it wasn't a big deal to her. I assure you that I have my own quirks that are a big deal to me, but wouldn't be to others, and she's always careful to respect those. I should have done the same without getting defensive. She had an emotional reaction to a triggering event, and she deserved my apology for trying to dismiss it. That's called empathy, people. I know it's a tough concept for some, but I assure you, people tend to like you more when you use it. I swear, some of you have the emotional maturity of a bag of bricks. As for an update, much to many people's disappointment, I'm sure we're still together. Quite happy. In fact, my relationship with her is the best I've ever had. She's the most amazing person I know. Cliché as it sounds, she's my best friend. I'm pretty sure I want to spend the rest of my life with her. Therapy has done wonders for her, and she hasn't had a triggering event in a long time. We've stopped playing social deduction games, but that's just because she's gotten ridiculously good at them. No marriage or kids yet, but we've talked enough to know it's something we both want. So, to all those who criticized me for not leaving her immediately, I'm pretty content with my life. How many of you can say that? Hello everyone. My name is Peter. Welcome to the true stories being shared here. Please sit back and listen to today's story. My boyfriend wants to buy a boat, and I'm $40,000 in debt. We've been together for almost 10 years. I own the house we live in. Due to unemployment, he stopped contributing to the bills over 5 years ago. In the past 3 years, he's gone back to work, paid off his debt, and his only bills now are car insurance and our cell phone bill. I've asked him dozens of times to start contributing, and it always turns into a fight. He tells me that if I need money, I just need to ask, but I don't believe that's a good replacement for him, giving me a set amount that I can rely on monthly to pay the bills. I also do 95% of the grocery/household shopping. I've made bad decisions and drowned myself in debt trying to live a lifestyle that I should be able to afford if I weren't supporting him. He wants to buy a boat. I'm about to take a $9,000 per year pay cut at work. He knows how much debt I'm in. I decided to break up with him, sell the house to pay off my bills, and walk away happy with what might be $100,000 in my pocket, literally life-changing money. Am I overreacting by ending a committed 10-year relationship without talking to him about it one more time and giving him a chance to make it right? Edit. Wow, this post has gone far beyond what I expected. I really hate to say this, but if you don't have anything different to say than the over 1,000 comments already here, please don't waste your time. There's no way I can read all of this. And to those saying absolutely terrible things to me, guess what? We all know what kind of person you are. And to the nudes guy, I'm flattered but no. Second edit. I genuinely appreciate the kind words and meaningful advice I've received, I'll do my best to get through it all, but it's around 4,000 right now. To answer some of the more common questions, I already rent out a room to someone. I didn't mention it because it didn't seem relevant. I've raised his rent starting next month. He's also had a really sweet deal for the last few years. I have a really good job. I work for USPS. The problem is, USPS is going bankrupt, and they've realized they can pay a part-timer $20 an hour to do what they pay me nearly $40 an hour for. I don't know how bad it's going to get, but it looks like it's going to be a $9 into 11 cut a year. I'm trying to get ahead of it before it hits. The benefits are huge, and I don't have a degree, so there's really no way I'm going to get a higher paying job. I'm looking into Instacart/DoorDash when it hits. It doesn't seem fair that I should have to work 2 jobs while he sat on his ass for 2 years. And listen, I get it. Selling is a bad idea. A house is an investment. But I really don't see another way to get out of this debt. I don't want the hassle of trying to rent the whole place out and paying for an apartment myself. I don't want to have to maintain it. It's too big for me. And I don't even think I want to stay in this state. Selling now, paying off my debt, stashing the money, and letting it earn interest, then in about a year, when I've got my head straight again, hopefully moving somewhere warmer. Third edit. One more thing. He already has a boat. A cheap boat, if there is such a thing. He wants a nice new boat so he doesn't have to keep sinking money into the one he already has. Related comments. Commenter. OOP meets her budget for the house and pays off the debt she's in. Wait for the boyfriend to move out and sell the house. OOP, yeah, pretty much. I could afford it if I weren't paying $1,000 in a month in credit cards, and if I weren't taking a nearly $1,000 in a month pay cut. I also have no interest in living in a place this large or caring for my lawn by myself, and it would take years for a roommate to reach the same financial benefit as just selling the house. It would take about 5 years of rent to pay off my debt, and that's at the current amount, not including all the interest that would happen over those 5 years. I can't. I've run the numbers. I can't afford the bills and the mortgage. Even getting a roommate would take over 5 years to pay off, and I don't want to live with someone that long. Commenter. OOP about creating a safe retirement account to live comfortably after moving out and taking care of what she owes. OP, I have a retirement account, and I could pay rent out of my salary without the credit card bills. I'm planning to increase my retirement contributions a fair bit and gradually move on from $100 in K while that money sits in a savings account earning interest. Commenter. OOP about attending therapy to work through her issues and taking care of herself before anyone else. OOP, I am in therapy, but my therapist is moving to a new practice that doesn't accept my insurance, so I have to find a new one. I've gently nudged him to get therapy for a long time, but he won't go. I've suggested couples therapy many times, but he thinks it's a sign the relationship is over, so essentially, I'm just giving him what he's been expecting at this point. She's out of state, and her new practice only takes clients from a specific EAP that my company isn't part of. I really wish staying with her was an option. Working on it. There are some undiagnosed mental health issues that literally explain every stupid thing I've done. I'm actively working on myself. Commenter. OOP explaining how much she and her boyfriend spend weekly. OOP. I spend double on his groceries what I do on mine. I eat 1 meal a day and about $12 in a week on snacks. He eats lunch and dinner and probably more than $20 in a week on snacks. He drinks $30 and in Diet Coke each week. I drink a $4 in pack of bottled water with Mio or Crystal packs and an occasional energy drink. I have a nice car because I'm sick of unreliable used ones. My car payment isn't extravagant and is very fuel efficient. I take 2 to 3 vacations a year, 2 long weekends and a 5-day. I look for the best deals and pay cash for everything except the hotel and flight points. I always offer camping, but he prefers comfort. Anyway, I don't know why I'm saying this. I fully admit I've made bad financial decisions, but they wouldn't be nearly as bad if he were pulling his weight. I guess I thought he'd eventually step up, and he just didn't. Update: 4 months later. My original post blew up way more than I ever expected. I'm definitely overwhelmed by all your responses, and I genuinely appreciate the amount of people who care about a random stranger on the internet. Since then, I've considered posting an update multiple times, but wanted to wait until everything played out. But recently someone reached out, so I decided this was as good a time as any. I spent a lot of time getting everything lined up for myself behind the scenes. I had a safety plan for myself and my cats in case he got angry. I spent a long time planning what I would do after selling my house. I broke up with him at the beginning of June. It was one of the most emotionally difficult things I've ever done. We talked for hours over several days about what had happened. He wasn't angry, just sad. I was really sad too and still am, but now we're both on the same page, and we agreed it was for the best for both of us. He moved out right away and has been gradually moving his stuff out. It took me about 2 months to get my house ready for sale, but after it was listed, I accepted a very good offer within a week. The closing is 3 weeks from now. I decided to use this opportunity to completely change my life. I'm moving across the country. I already have a place and a job lined up, and I'm really excited about my future. I'm getting the money I expected, paying off my debt, and investing the large amount that's left. I'm moving to an area with a lower cost of living, and my expenses will be significantly lower than they were before. And the job I've lined up will pay the same as my current salary, so I'll be in really good shape. I signed a lease on a suite apartment. Maybe I'll consider buying again in the future, but for now, I'm just looking forward to a fresh start and a chance to make my life exactly what I want it to be. Related comments. DailyRddit, did he ever say why he wanted to buy a $40,000 and boat instead of helping you with your debt? OP, kind of. I guess he didn't think. Somehow he always thought I was okay, even though he knew how much debt I was in, and even though I'd begged him so many times to start contributing regularly. In his mind, I must have been fine because I never asked him for specific money to cover specific bills. Puzzled History 7265. Owa, I love this ending. I hope you move to a fun city and have lots of friends. OOP, the city is amazing. I already have a few good friends there, and I'm really looking forward to meeting more.